In every marriage, there are two forces that couples often offer up to each other. The reality about these forces is one builds up while the other tears down. But here is the catch. You can offer these two forces at the same time. I know you'll be curious to know what these forces are. So in this video, I'll be exploring these two powerful forces and then share with you why choosing one over the other will make you to have a better marriage. Let's get straight to it. The two forces I'm talking about are praise and criticism. These two forces have the power to either destroy your marriage or to build up your marriage. I want to ask you, which of these two forces do you think is prevalent in every marriage? I want you to start with your own marriage. I want you to ask yourself that question. When you ask yourself that question and you are sincere about it, you will see that criticism is more prevalent into these marriages. I also remember in the time past when I used to focus on criticism as opposed to looking for things to praise my wife about. And the interesting thing is this, there are so many things to praise one spouse about, but the thing is, we all have been wired to fixate on what they are getting wrong. So in this video, I want to encourage you from moving away from focusing more on what your spouse is getting wrong. I want to encourage you to focus less on what they are not getting right, but focus more on what they are getting right. And this is one thing about focusing more on what your spouse is getting wrong. Haven't you noticed that when you are always focusing more on what they are getting wrong, you end up seeing so many things to complain about? Why do you think that is so? That is very simple, because your focus is all about what they are getting wrong, what your wife is getting wrong, or what your husband is getting wrong. And when we are so much fixated on what they are getting wrong, we will be blind to those things that they are getting right. But what I want you to start doing today is to always focus on what they are getting right, because you don't have the right to blame your spouse if you don't also find time to praise them or to compliment them on what they are getting right. So instead of criticizing them the more, why don't you spend that energy to compliment them on what they are getting right? Do you know the interesting thing about praising them on what they are getting right? When you praise your spouse on what he or she is getting right, he's motivated and inspired to do more. This is what a lot of couples don't know. They don't know that when they are praising their spouses on what they are getting right, they are encouraging them, they are literally fueling them to do more. But I've seen a lot of couples, for example, I've seen a lot of wives that will say to me, but if I praise him now, the praise will get to his head. That's the wrong thing to do. If you can criticize him all the way, if you can blame him all the way, why wouldn't you also praise him when he gets things right? Always look for an opportunity to praise your spouse. This is something I want you to take home. Always look for the slightest opportunity to praise your spouse. When you see that small opportunity, don't take it for granted. No matter how little that improvement is, when you see that improvement, latch on it and compliment them and say to them, I am proud of you today. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for helping me out in this way. Don't take anything for granted. Don't take any small improvement you see your spouse making. Don't take it for granted, because when you take it for granted, you are not encouraging them to do more. So instead of focusing on the mistakes they are doing all the time, why don't you also focus on what they are getting right? I am not against correcting your spouse. I am not against that. But what I am not in support is when you are not correcting them with love. Because when you want to correct your spouse, the first thing you need to ask yourself is this: what do I want to achieve? If what you want to achieve is for them not to do that same mistake tomorrow, that means you have to use a different approach. What does that mean? This simply means when you're correcting them, you correct them with love. And this is the litmus test that I want every couple to always have. Always ask yourself, am I correcting my spouse with love? No matter what they have done to you. When you are not correcting them with love, you are not making a headway, because they will often see you to be confrontational. But when you correct them with love, they will feel valued and they will feel respected. And when they feel these two things, they will want to listen to you. So don't just correct for correcting's sake, correct them with love. So I am not against correcting your spouse. But what I'm saying here is this: there are so many things that we take for granted. There are so many things that we ignore that our spouses have done right. Let us learn to focus on those things. Let us learn to focus on those things, and let us not so much be fixated on what they are getting wrong. Because when you are fixated on what they are getting wrong, you end up seeing more of them. And that also applies in parenting. Haven't you noticed, if you are so much fixated on what your children are getting wrong, you keep on seeing the things they are getting wrong. But when you are fixated on what they are getting right and appreciating them and commending them on what they are getting right, all of a sudden it looks as if that they are now getting so many things right. What do you think has happened? What simply happened is that your focus has moved away from fault finding to seeking what they are getting right. That is the same thing I want you to bring into your marriage. So in this video, I want to encourage you to focus more on what your spouse is getting right. So when you see what they are getting right, latch on those things and compliment them and praise them and thank them. When you do, they will tend to do more. Don't spend all your energy looking for ways to reprimand them. Don't focus all your energy looking for ways to find fault with them. Don't focus all your energy looking for ways to blame them. This is what applies in marriages today. And these things are the things that will destroy marriages. When you are always blaming your spouse, when you're always criticizing them, tell me how you can have a peaceful home. You can never have a peaceful home. If you want to have a peaceful home, you need to move away from blame game. You need to move away from always finding fault with them, to begin to seek ways to appreciate them when they have gotten things right. It's when you appreciate them for getting things right that they want to get more and more things right tomorrow. I want you to give that a trial. So I want you to have a peaceful home. I want you to do well in your marriage. I want you to succeed in your marriage. And that is very possible. And one of the ways you can achieve that is for you to put to work all I have shared with you in this video. But I want you to go with this. Always remember, if you are not praising them, if you're not commending them, you do not have the right to criticize them. So I'm encouraging you in this video to be known for appreciating your spouse, to be known for commenting and praising your spouse when they get things right, and focus less on criticizing them, because you can build a strong marriage with criticism. You can only build a strong marriage when you are appreciating your spouse in whatever progress they have made. So if you found this video useful, which I know you do, why don't you subscribe, like, and comment, and also share this with others so that together we will build a stronger and healthier marriages. Thank you for watching. Enjoy your marriage.